Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live, taking some questions, giving some answers on this beautiful Monday morning. Hope you're doing well. We just got through doing a nice little workout, good upper body day, mixed in some bench, some dumbbells, weighted pull-ups, running, some calisthenics as well. Um, just a good Monday. But tomorrow, so today I usually do a little week walkthrough of my workout plan on Mondays. And then as we start getting people on here, I start talking a little bit about a topic of the week, and then we take questions. So give me a few minutes and I'll explain my workout, what it looks like this week, as well as um, a good topic I'm going to write about today as well. That's very important because a lot of people screw this up. All right. So good upper body day, nothing crazy. Dumbbells, I like to do bench press mixed with dumbbell rows. It's a good combo. Um, we also do, um, run a little bit just because we're working out outside. You got to stay warm a little, but also need to maintain your running. So usually after a circuit of weights, go shake it off with a run, and then we come back and do a weighted calisthenics cycle mixed with another run. And then by the time we're done, we've probably done about 100 pull ups. Probably half of those are weighted. Um, Standard body weight bench press lifts, nothing heavier than body weight, but trying to hit double digits on that weight. Um, and run about I think we're about 3.5 miles today total. And then a whole bunch of reps of push ups, sit ups, dips, dumbbell overhead presses, things like that. So it's fun upper body day. Definitely a pump. Tomorrow is going to be a hill day, but we're going to add in some very challenging things to do at the bottom of the hill and up the hill. So uh, bring some kettlebells, bring some sandbags, and we'll be doing chest carry lunges up the hill, squats, kettlebell squats, RDLs, swings, things like that at the bottom of the hill. And then we got to run up and down the hill. And it's a 1/4 mile hill. It's pretty good little challenge. So that'll be a good leg day. And it takes us 2 miles just to get to the hill and then 2 miles back. So after we're done, we'll probably hit about 6 miles with some legs mixed in there. And it's a variety running too. It's not just long, slow distance. So the 2 miles there is kind of a warm up with a squat pyramid on the way. Then we run some sprints up the hill along with some carries up the hill, usually just walk or slow jog down, kind of recovery. And then on the way back, it's all interval stuff. So we're focusing on goal pace. Depending on how our legs feel, we may throw in some squats and lunges or just do a short 100-meter walk recovery type thing in between the goal pace runs. Then Wednesday, we do the classic mobility day. If you don't know what mobility day is, I will put it into the um, comment section because it's not just mobility day. It's a mobility day. It's an easier day than your normal workouts right in the middle of the week. It's a recovery day. It's a technique day. It is focusing on skills that you may not be thoroughly capable of doing because of lack of technique or lack of mobility that is preventing you from being able to do that. And there's many of them, from being able to kick properly when you're swimming, um, especially with fins and your ankle mobility, being able to do an egg beater kick because your hips, knees, and ankles are tight, being able to streamline because your shoulders are immobile. Even some lifts, being able to squat down and do a deep squat, or be able to get your elbows up here when you got a bar on your shoulders. A lot of different things that involve flexibility, mobility that are very helpful for you to entertain. And you still do some cardio on those days, and you swim and you bike and things like that. So it's not exactly easy, but you got to check out this article because it's really just explains everything and the importance of it. Then after that, we go back to an upper body day, followed by a leg day, and it's about the same. In the fall, we're mixing um, like this fall season here, which this is what we're doing actually. Um, we are mixing in warming up with calisthenics, uh, doing a few calisthenics mixed into the workout, but weighted typically, and mixing in some dumbbells and some body weight level lifts. So we're slowly ramping up to heavier weight, but we're using the fall season to downshift the running a little bit, total mileage per week, and then up shift the amount of weight they're doing, and we're downshifting the amount of reps we do over the course of the rest of the year and throughout the winter. Just part of a periodization model that I created almost 25 years ago. In fact, if you haven't seen it, it is pretty much what I have been doing for the last 25 years, not only myself, but as a coach. Um, and it's just a good system. It works. It's not the only system out there, but it's a good system that works, and especially if you need to get good at everything. And typically, all athletes come into this tactical fitness journey with some form of weakness that they have neglected because their sport didn't require it. I don't have to get into a for instance, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Um, all right, so what's next? That's our week. Friday is going to be a track workout, and then Saturday is going to be a kind of a upper body workout with some pull up deadlift mi- mixed in there, which is one of my favorites. I like mixing deadlifts with pull ups. So we're going to create a pull day on Friday with that. Um, all right. So my article I'm writing about today is specifically addressing um, when to add more workout to your workout. So, for instance, let's say you're doing this workout here, right? Spring training, which is going to be a mix of calisthenics and cardio. It's going to be a progressive running program. Each week is going to increase by about 10-15% of mileage until, it really peaks in the summer. It's going to downshift the lifting, so there's not as much lifting, but it's an increase of calisthenics. So that's what we do in the spring, and we peak in the summer with calisthenics and cardio. So what often I get questions like, "Hey, I want to run a marathon, um, and I'm doing this program. How can I add that to the program?" Or, "Hey, I want to lift a little more than what the summer training program has." Because the summer training program is a lot of calisthenics and cardio and very little lifting. Because we're not focusing on lifting, we're focusing on endurance and muscle stamina. Um, so how do you do that if I have a workout like the Complete Guide to Navy SEAL Fitness, or say this one? This one is more calisthenics and cardio based for the IFT test for the first section, and then the back section actually has a preparation for the OFT, which is the operator fitness test, which involves weight and deadlifts and stuff like that. Um, so how do you add stuff to that? You have to be really smart about it. First of all, I personally recommend that you don't necessarily need it, right? Give yourself, especially if you're coming from a background where you've been lifting all your life, lay off lifting for a little while and get better at calisthenics and cardio. If you're coming from a background where you've never lifted, Yeah, it might be a good situation for you to add some lifts to a particular cycle, or change your cycle altogether and just do a lift cycle if that's what you really need. So, my answer to that kind of question, no matter what it is, whether it's add a marathon, add lifting, it's want to do a triathlon, want to add in another PT session and do another 100 pull ups that day, whatever. Is one, it depends. Two, it really depends on your athletic history on what you really need and what you really um, can do and not get yourself hurt and overtrain and then start to see negative results. That's the thing I'm trying to avoid. I mean, a lot of these workouts are hard enough. Like the last thing you need to do is add more to it. Um, but once again, it's going to depend on where your weaknesses is. And you don't really know what your weaknesses are until you assess yourself. So I'm going to send you an assessment tool. It's pretty basic. In fact, there's a video and there is a list. I mean, it is a chart of certain exercises that you can do. For instance, I'll just run down them. You got the PST, you got your athletic history, any injuries. This is your assessment. You got push ups and sit ups and pull ups, got plank, depending on if you got to take a plank. Your timed run, everything from mile and a half, 2 mile, 3 mile, depending on your branch of service, 4 mile timed run, 5 mile timed run, depending on your branch of service, 500 yard or 500 meter swim, depending on your branch of service, 1,000 meter swim or mile swim, 2 mile swim, tread water, no hands. Can you do it for 10 minutes? You know, things like that. That's the basic calisthenics and cardio section. Then there's weighted pull ups and body weight bench press and deadlifts and squats and standing long jump and 300-yard shuttle run and lunges. What I mean by that is chest carry lunges. Can you chest carry lunge 40 pounds like this for 400 meters, right? So one lap around a track without stopping. And then the big assessment on that one is, can you do it and not be sore the next 2 days? Right? Your first time, you're probably going to be sore. In fact, I would recommend maybe even doing 100 meters and then 200 meters and 300, build up to that 400-meter walking lunge if you've never done it. Um, and you will be glad one day that you can do 400 meters of walking lunges with some weight and not be sore. Because if you're going to Buds or any Spec Ops program that has log PT, and there are many, you're going to be chest carry lunging or just doing squats with it on your shoulder. And then a couple days later, you're going to have a timed run event, and you're going to want to be able to be recovered from that chest carry lunge day, which you probably did a day or maybe even the day before or the day of before your 4 mile timed run. So legs, endurance, and muscle stamina are critical. That's why a lot of the times when I do my leg days in a lot of these spec ops cycles, you'll see a lot of running. You'll see bleacher runs, hill runs, hard bikes, like high resistance bikes, followed by squats and lunges um, for multiple sets, because you got to get your lungs and your legs able to handle that kind of volume. Um, and those leg days are typically enough. Especially if you've come from a strength background and you've done some squats and deadlifts in your athletic history. You may already have enough strength. You just need more muscle stamina and endurance. So there you go. And then there's hang cleans and grip test. And, something I like to do is get people involved in obstacle course racing or maybe go ruck events, just to do those before, you go ship out somewhere, just because they're useful. They're very useful tools for training. Um, and rucking, of course, getting in that 10, 12-minute mile pace, with 40, 50 pounds on. But yeah, check out that assessment tool, and you'll kind of get an idea of just where you stand with these scores that I put in there, because these scores I put in there are um, pretty much average scores of guys that have gone on and done really well in these spec ops programs over the last 20 plus years I've been coaching people. All right. So that is my answer to that kind of question. So I'll probably write an article on that one today after this video, but I can take some questions now. Looks like Alex from Texas has some. Low serve finished up 12 weeks to buds, 8 weeks ahead of buds, and in the remaining time, I was thinking about doing your strength program. Do you think that is a good idea, or should I? Yeah, I think it's a great idea, especially if you need strength. If you don't need strength, I don't think it's necessary. Um, and just keep focusing on your calisthenics and cardio. I will tell you this, something that I have found to be very helpful is if you are trying to maintain your um, strength. Oh, I think I just mailed that one off. If you're trying to maintain your um, calisthenics and cardio and work on some strength, my winter lift cycle with a block periodization model of 3-to-1. So you do 3 weeks of strength training, and you're still doing a moderate level of running and swimming and rucking in that, but it's really focused on building some strength, a little bit of muscle stamina in there as well. Maybe even build some mass, depending on how much you're eating. And then 1 week of calisthenics and cardio, where it's kind of a strength deload week, but it's a reintroduction of more cals and cardio like you would be doing in the 12 weeks to buds or my summer programs. And that has produced some really good results. In fact, I'm going to put this in here. And I've learned some lessons from this winter block cycle where that 3-to-1 matters significantly. In fact, check out this article here. It's a little bit of lessons learned of our first time we did it. We're on our third time coming up, third year of our winter lift cycle doing it. And I've seen just countless people put on mass, get stronger, and maintain or even improve their calisthenics, which I was shocked with that 3-to-1 block periodization model. When I say calisthenics and cardio, so they're PST scores. So the workout I was talking about is actually called Increase Strength and Crush the PST or PASS test. I'm about to change the name of that because they changed the PASS test, the physical ability stamina test that the Air Force Special Warfare used, to now it's called the initial fitness test. But it kind of depends. In fact, this is my old cover. I don't know if you saw my new cover. I'll pull it up. I changed the cover, but I did not change much of the interior. It's about the same because I've recently updated this to where includes not only a 12-week IFT prep program, but it also has a 4-week OFT program that you can kind of run through and also work on your OFT as well. But anyway, that's the old this is the old cover with the new interior, and that's the new cover. All I did was change Special Ops, Special Warfare, because when I had this, they didn't call it Air Force Special Warfare. They called it the PASS test, and that's what we did here. Ace the PJCCT PASS workout. And that was before they had SRs and all these different. Sorry, there you go. All these different changes in that new cover, but this is the old cover, and I just ordered this one, and it hadn't quite changed up. So the interior is new. I didn't change a whole lot in it, but the cover is old. So it's a mess up book. So if anybody wants it, um, first person that says, yes, I will take it. You have to write that in the comment section. Yes, I will take it. I will mail it to you for free. So let's see how much you're listening. So who is the first person to comment, yes, I will take it? And that's what you have to say. You have to say, yes, I will take it. Who's listening? Ah, Alex. All right. Oh, nope. Nate came in before you. So, so Nate has won the book. So, Nate, what I want you to do after this is just email me your address, and I will mail that to you. My email address is stew at stewsmith.com. It's a great workout in here. I mean, it's got everything from the past test, which is running, swimming, pull up, push up, sit ups. Also has the OFT workout cycle in here, um, which is let me see here. Last few weeks. Where's the OFT? Anyway, it's got some good stuff in there. So sorry, folks. Looks like Nate got it. I thought Alex came in first, but it looks like Nate came in first. So there you go. I'll send that to you free of charge. Thanks for playing. So I even came up with a new banner. So I'll do another one in a few minutes. How's that? So if you're listening, and I'm gonna flash this up like this, I'll show the book that I'm gonna share, and first person who says I will take it, will get it. All right. So play a little game here. So we'll take some questions here. So don't worry, it'll happen again in a few minutes. But yeah, it kind of depends on what you need, Alex, is my long-winded answer to that. Um, do you need more calisthenics and cardio? Is your 4 mile timed run good? Is your flutter kicks, all that stuff? Things that you're going to do on the grinder. How are those? Um, leg stamina, all that. But if you need some strength, a strength cycle also makes sense. Oh, But a good compromise is that winter lift cycle. Okay, next question. You're welcome, Bobby. Good morning. Do you recommend doing a full cycle of fall, winter, and spring, summer periodization before you start taking tests? Good question. It really kind of depends. I have had people who come into our training cycle, and all they came in with a strength background. So they were maybe a football player or a power lifter or something, and all they really needed to do was just get good at running, swimming, and calisthenics. So all they needed was like a spring cycle, or the Navy SEAL phase 2, 3, or phase 1 cycle program. But if they were to go with a spring, summer PT cardio cycle, that was sufficient for them. That's all they needed. Um, but it depends. It depends on the athlete, to be honest with you. Um, I will tell you this, my journey, I needed about 18 months of calisthenics and cardio to get out of my um, powerlifting football training history, to make that transition. Luckily, I had it because I was like 4 years at the Naval Academy, um, while I made that discovery that I wanted to go into the SEAL pipeline training. And it's probably like midway through my freshman year, maybe beginning of my sophomore year, is when I really started. And I basically just did calisthenics and triathlon training for about 18 months, and I didn't touch a single weight for a very long time. I might have gone into the weight room a few times in the winter just to play around, um, just to change things up a little bit, a few days a week, but it wasn't a real lift cycle. I was focused solely on getting better at running, swimming, and calisthenics. And it took me a very long time to do that. And I still had somewhat of a weakness. Maybe it was mental, maybe it was conditioning with running, that I always had to kind of use a gut check mentality for any running event that I ever did. Whether it was a mile and a half timed run, I had to bring my A game. If it was a 4 mile timed run, had to bring my A game. There was no coasting and getting a 28-minute timed run, right? It was, okay, I have to suck it up and push hard to get 28 minutes. And I could, and I did. It just wasn't a comfortable thing for me that I knew I had to work a little harder. I didn't have to work as hard in swimming. I didn't have to work as hard on the grinder and doing PT. Believe it or not, I didn't have not that it was easy. I didn't get crushed under the boats and logs. Um, Felt fine under them. It still sucked. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't easy, is not I'm saying. It just wasn't something that was crushing for me. The things that could crush my soul really easily was just pure running. But that was my story. May not be your story. I think we all have a different story when it comes to this, and it really, unfortunately, just depends. Um, how many miles a week are your guys downshifting to? More speed work? Yes. It's exactly what we're doing. In fact, right here, we are downshifting into, I think right now in the fall, we're down to like 20 to 25 miles a week. We had downshifted from between 30 and 35 in the summer. And now in the beginning of the fall, we're down to about 20, 25 a week. By the end of fall, we'll be down to 20. And by the probably first month of winter, we will be 15, maybe 20 max. But then by the dead of winter, we're usually 10 to 15. So it is goes all the way down, but we never get less than 10. And if you need more running, I always have an extra 20 to 30 minutes built into the workout where you can go work on your aerobic base and just hit in a nice steady, low zone heart rate running thing just to keep that aerobic base going while you're lifting. Nothing too crazy, but at the same time, it depends on you. But yeah, most of our runs are shorter and faster. In fact, you'll see, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, you'll start seeing for the next, at least the rest of the year, instead of running on the beach, we are running on a track, and we're really nailing down 400s, 800s, mile repeats, and totaling maybe 3.5, 4 miles. In that running, I think we did 3 on Friday, but they were all fast. So, and we're also transitioning, probably a couple more weeks, we'll be transitioning out of our long Tuesday hill run that we normally do, and that will be purely a lift with maybe some 400s thrown in there just to stay warm, because we do work out outside. Though this winter we may probably go back inside just to play around with some heavier lifts that are just a little safer to lift on a platform, not pitch black at 6 a.m. and in the freezing weather. So, though I will say, working out in the winter made us all freaking hard. I mean, it was a really good, um, just mentally and physically tougher. I could tell it even in myself. It was, able to handle the cold just so much better. Just made it tougher. Like, I usually never would run in the 20s. It's 25 degrees. I would never go running um, outside. I'd run on treadmill, all the time when it was 25 degrees. But we were running outside just to stay warm in between sets, when it was 25 degrees, and it makes you tough. All right. Let's see. Another question. Yeah. Alex is ready. Ready for that second chance for a book title. Um, should I work on getting my running speed up to my goal pace on intervals before increasing reps and overall distance each week? You know what? Two different schools of thought out there. You can do either one. I personally prefer the goal pace method, especially if your goal is to crush a timed run. But if you are um, not necessarily worried about a mile and a half run or a 3 mile run or 4 mile run, and you're wanting to do like cross country stuff and run longer distances, run a marathon, you can definitely build up your aerobic base a lot longer, a lot progressive, and build up a higher amount of volume at slower paces and then go into faster paces on the back end. That would be how a running coach would probably tell you how to do that. I personally, if you're a non running athlete, sometimes the worst advice you could get is that running coach advice. And I'm not knocking a running coach, but there's a difference in your athlete when you're a 145-pound cross country runner doing that kind of volume versus a 210-pound football player who is now trying to increase his running mileage quickly. Um, the two are completely different animals, right? It's like I wouldn't ask the cross country guy to go, start deadlifting, over his body weight on week one. So why would I ask a 210-pound non running distance football player to go do a 5 miler, long, slow distance run in the first week? So it's just a common sense approach to training that I tend to focus on my athletes to go with building up to my goal pace with, rubberized track running, maybe even the inside of the track with the turf or grass, just to avoid some of those hard impact pains that can tend to happen when you're a new runner. And then eventually you can start progressing into harder ground, whether it's, on the track or on asphalt. Um, but as you're beginning, I would definitely recommend um, shorter, faster paces, build up your durability, build up your pace, build up your speed, um, to where it's not a sprint. Like you're going to have a high heart rate probably the first quarter mile you ever do, but eventually you're going to want that heart rate to in your quarter mile at that same pace of, let's say, a 90-second quarter mile to be a lot less. So monitor your heart rates as well so that you can kind of stay in an aerobic zone versus being anaerobic sprinting basically, um, doing a quarter mile run. So that's the goal of goal pace running, is to get to your goal and not be winded doing your goal pace, because you got to maintain that goal pace for a lot more than just one lap around a track. It's got to be a mile and a half or 2 miles or 3 miles or 4 miles or 5 miles even, and then those longer distances can be a little slower too. So like for the mile and a half and 2 mile or even 3 mile for the Marines, they do a 6 minute mile, right? That is a gold standard 9 minute mile and a half, 12 minute 2 mile, 18 minute 3 mile. That is like, that's hardcore. That Marine Corps, regular Marine Corps guy is, max test is a 18-minute 3 mile. I recommend striving for that. It's a good goal pace and it's doable. You just got to work at it. But anything over that, I find very difficult to maintain, especially in a tactical environment where you're not necessarily running in shorts and tennis shoes or running shoes. you're running boots and pants and things like that on the beach, so a 7-minute mile for a 4-mile timed run is a logical pace. So there's two paces you have to learn. You have to learn the 6-minute mile pace, and you have to learn a 7-minute mile pace and be able to apply them to, your shorter run and your longer runs. So sorry for the long answer, but I thought that needed it. Big Balls says he's enlisted in the Army Airborne. Nice. Combat medic. Had a few guys do that this year. Contract with Italy guaranteed as my duty station. Nice. Man, I tell you what, I love Italy. If I got any Italians on here, man, it's one of my favorite countries. I go over there, never had a bad meal, plenty of sightseeing things to do, especially if you like old decorative rocks, placed in columns and ancient ruins. It's pretty amazing. I like learning about the history over there too. But anyway, side point. Um, and beautiful water on the beach. Just beautiful country. Is it worth volunteering for RASP when I have this once in a lifetime opportunity? Well, they need combat medics at Ranger battalions too. So you can do both, right? My recommendation would be to train like you're going to go to Ranger selection, assessment and selection. Train like that, and then if you decide to pull that trigger, you're ready. You can do that, or you go through the airborne pipeline or whatever, and people say, "Man, you're in really good shape. You should go to Ranger battalion." And let that kind of guide you. The cool thing about the Army, compared to like the Navy or even the Air Force, is there's a logical progression to your career. Like if you want to be a Ranger, it makes sense. Join the Army, go through boot camp, maybe infantry, go airborne, and you go Ranger, right? It's a stepping, like just a little ladder to get to that level. Whereas in the Navy, there's nothing in the Navy or Air Force that prepares you for, the special warfare pipeline. So you have to prepare yourself prior to joining, because there's not anything in your job or progression of your job that's going to allow that to happen. So it's a lot on your own. That's why I do what I do, because there's a lot of people that don't know how to do that. Good question, though, and good luck. Oh, sorry. All right, so let's do this. Let's see which one. Let's do this one. We'll do the Navy SEAL phase 2 and 3 book giveaway. Book giveaway. You know what you have to do. You have to say, I'm not even going to repeat what you have to say. You have to say what? Yes, I will take it. You have to write that in the comment section. Yes, I will take it. And the first person, I will mail it to them. Oh, wow, look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Alex. Alex won it. Okay. Alex from Texas. He got the second chance. He must have been standing by because he missed that first one. Just so close. Nate beat him to it. So yeah, sorry. No more. You don't have to type in I will take it. Alex typed in, the other Alex said he already had it. So there you go. So yeah, I got a bunch of extra books that I have been ordering from my printer just as like a Q&A thing to make sure that they're good to go. So there you go. So I'll be giving some away. I'll give some more away tomorrow as well. So I got the envelopes ready to ship. So you can send me your address. Send it to my email address, stu@stewsmith.com, and um, I'll send you a book, priority mail, real quick. Be real easy. Let's see. I think that's all the questions. I don't think I've missed any questions. If I did, send it down again. Um, I will say this though, you guys. Tomorrow I'll be back on at 9 o'clock, and we'll do some CSS critique. I got a couple videos that have submitted. If you have a video you want me to review it and check it out, happy to do it. But you can also go on TikTok. In fact, you can go to this um, HTTP address or URL, um, TikTok.com/StuSmith50. If you don't want to download the app on your smartphone, you can just get it um, as a normal website. And there's a lot of good stuff on here. And what I mean by that is, I think I have now, pulling it up here real quick. Let's see. It's growing. I think we got like almost 7,500 followers, and um, let's see what else. Trying to count my videos here, but we got over 100 videos. It doesn't tell me how many videos I have. At least I don't see it. But yeah, check out this YouTube. I'm sorry, internet station, an internet channel, and you will see really countless of submitted videos of people, who need help. Some really good ones that show you how to do it, uh, and just some other videos as well, from treading water and drown proofing, underwater swims, stuff like that. So check out that TikTok channel, and I try to post on there 2 or 3 videos a week at least. Um, so they're also on my reels at Instagram too. So let's see. You are welcome, Alex. It is my pleasure. It's a lot of fun. You guys give me ideas to write about. So, in fact, that idea that I started off with about, adding different levels of activity to your training day, was suggested from someone who just asked an email, asked in an email about, he wanted to add lifts to the complete guide to Navy SEAL fitness, or add lifts to, a more calisthenics and cardio based program. While there's nothing wrong with that, it just has to be done very carefully. And, the biggest issue that most people have when they add lifts to it is they screw up the um, the cycle. They screw up the splits. So, for instance, they might do calisthenics upper body on Monday, and then they'll do legs and running on Tuesday, but they'll add in a bench press and, heavy upper body on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday there may be another upper body day or something else, but they've done 2 upper body days in a row, never really recovered from that high volume calisthenics day. You know, there's a lot of issues that come with your ability to recover when you add too much to a training day. So it matters when you do it, and it also matters how much you do it, because eventually there's going to be a level of calisthenics that you do that will require more than a day of recovery, maybe even 2 days, 3 days of recovery before you do anything again, because high volume calisthenics is just as hard on your body as heavy weight training is. It's just a little bit different. but it taxes the central nervous system just as much, and you can fry yourself pretty easily by doing too much. And these books are relative too, right? For some people, this is way too hard, and they need to go, find something like. Let me see if I have an easier book here. We need to find something like this, the foundation building program. Oh, I did have an extra one of these. So this is my winter lift cycle that I was talking about, the block periodization, increase strength, crush, PST, pass test, if you were asking about that. Um, so, yeah, there you go. You got any more questions? If we don't, I will cut this short and get back to my article writing. But if anybody's got a last question. All right, so we're going to take this one. Last question. Just wondering, when finning, which muscle gets more winded fast? Hamstrings, quads? For me, it's quads, I feel. Yeah, it depends on how you're kicking. Usually high in the quad, closer to the hip flexor, if you're doing it right with the hips. If you wind up bicycling too much, you can wear out your quads and hams a little. So you want to use your hips more, and you're going to feel it more in the hips. It takes some time to really prepare yourself to swimming with fins for long distance. So your ankles are going to hurt, your knees may hurt a little bit, and your hips may hurt a little bit, or they get tired. But I would say, out of every time when I was swimming a lot with fins, um, hamstrings and hips were definitely, for me, what got worked the most. And you could see it too. I mean, my hip flexors, I had huge hip flexors. And if I bend over and touch my toe, you could see just about every one of my hamstring muscles. Um, and it rips you up when you're doing a lot of swimming with fins. And that was usually like a scuba diving course, swimming on top of that. Um, when you're just with fins every day, just motorboating, your legs definitely get strong. But yeah, you'll feel it in the hips. So if you feel it in the quads, you may be bicycling a little bit. So my suggestion would be, have somebody film you, just swim 50 or 100 yards swimming, and walk alongside you, so I can see what's going on. But if it looks like you're riding a bicycle, you're doing it wrong, because you need to keep the legs not straight, slightly bent, so they kind of whip motion through the water. But all the power comes from your hips. And you got to work on your ankle flexibility, knee and hip flexibility as well. So, yeah, there you go. That's a fun one. In fact, swimming with fins, I probably should. I've written a couple articles on it, swimming with fins, but I usually talk about the type of fins versus like really swimming how to with fins. I've done a lot of videos on swimming with fins, which you can find on that Instagram or TikTok page. You can just see me talking about how to do that, and you can see what I'm talking about with the bicycling. There's a couple bicycling fin swimmers in there. You gotta have to sift through it, but it's worth the search. You'll learn something, and it's free. Can't argue with the price. So there you go. All right, folks. So if you guys feel the need for more programming, you can always check out StuSmithFitness.com. I'm happy to um, get you some programs to you. There's great articles. There's an article section in there that has 1,000 articles, right? That are, you just scroll through those and you'll see countless. Or use a search thing at the top, and you'll find an article of whatever you're looking for, because I've probably written about it. I've been writing for over 20 years now, and if you just use the Google machine, and put a tactical fitness topic with my name in the search, you will probably find an article I've written about it. But if you don't, let me know because I'll write one on it. Because I'm still writing 3 or 4 articles a week. So there you go. And don't forget, we'll be back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time, and probably show some CSS videos as well. So get those CSS videos to me if you want me to review them for you. Happy to post them or not post them, and I'll just send you an email one-on-one free critique of your CSS. It's just something that I do that is pretty easy. You can DM me on Instagram your video, or you can email it with an attached file. I can do it that way as well. Yeah, just answer that one, Mattzilla. All right. So I got to go. I appreciate your time, and I will see you tomorrow.